The Ravens head coach John Harbaugh and GM Eric DeCosta will speak at the Combine a little later this morning, along with the other head coaches and GMs. They'll have some big decisions, though, to make in the next couple of weeks and months. Here's a look at just some of the players set to hit free agency in Baltimore. The defense specifically, I wonder about. There's so much to get into here. They obviously fell a game short of the Super Bowl last season, losing to the Chiefs in the AFC Championship. But they do still have the reigning MVP. When you have Lamar Jackson, you always have a shot. But just how much of an uphill battle will the Ravens have in 2024 because of all of these free agents?
I love what you just said. As long as you have Lamar Jackson, you have a shot. And it was different for him last year as you're watching him and they get the new offensive coordinator, Todd Monken, and you're seeing him stand in a pocket, throw the ball down the field. Like, it was supposed to be their year last year. I think every Baltimore Ravens fans felt that. I think just NFL fans were scared to death in that AFC that the Ravens were going to be the ones representing as we watched them tear up on every team that came in as the hot team, whether it was Miami, whether it was the 49ers. They seemed to be destined to get to the Super Bowl. Fell short, didn't make it. So you pick the pieces up and you move on. When I look at those lists of free agents, I look specifically at the defense and the guys that had career years for them. You're looking at Justin Madubuike, Patrick Queen, both of those guys, second-team All-Pro, Pro Bowl selections. Then there were veterans like Van Noy, like Jadeveon Clowney. Those guys matched their career highs in sacks. So you had Geno Stone, who had career high interceptions. You have all of these guys that had career years, and now you're hitting free agency. And we know when you cash in like that, when you're in the last year of your deal, you're looking to get some money. You're looking to get paid. So I look at it's going to be very hard for him to keep all of those guys in-house and bring them back. And that's not even mentioning the fact that their defensive coordinator, Mike McDonald, is now the head coach in Seattle. They've had changes defensively as well. 2 other coaches leaving to go on and become different positions. You're looking at that right there. Denard Wilson on the bottom is now going to be the defensive coordinator for the Tennessee Titans. Anthony Weaver, a defensive line coach, is now going to be the defensive coordinator for the Miami Dolphins. So when you combine those two things, a list of free agent guys on the defensive side that had career years, and then their coaches leaving to take on different roles across the league. Now in free agency, you're not only competing to keep your guys there, you're competing for them leaving to familiar situations, going to coaches that they know that they can be put in a position to succeed. So I look at this Ravens team, and as great as Lamar Jackson was, that defense was incredible last year, and their ability to stop whoever they were lined up against on any given day. They're going through a lot of changes at the coaching position and also free agents. It's going to be an extremely uphill battle for them to get back to where they were this season.
Yeah, Brian, when you look at all of the different positions, too, it's not just like concentrated in one area. Like, as you mentioned, Jadeveon Clowney, and you have Justin Madubuike. Like, with Patrick Queen, who they declined his 5th-year option, like, he really thrived in that role as Batman to Roquan Smith's Robin, or Robin to Roquan Smith's Batman. But he was a Pro Bowler. Like, he really kind of came to life. And with Roquan playing on such a huge deal, I don't see them being able to bring him back. What do you think?
Yeah, well, I think J-Mac hit on an important note here. Like, you have all these defensive free agents and you have 3 defensive guys leaving, 1 for a head coaching job, 2 for a defensive coordinator job. Like, these guys are licking their chops because when someone that you've played for gets a position that they can, make some decisions, they're going to take guys like that with you, like a Kyle Van Noy, a Patrick Queen, guys who have been, in the system, performed well. They're going to be the leader of, that new defense, whether it's in Seattle or Miami or wherever it may be. And, so those guys, I mean, it's going to be hard to keep a lot of those guys. You got to keep figure out which ones you want to keep because a lot of them are going to say, hey, I can go to Miami, I can go to Seattle. I think I remember, when Flo went to Miami, you, Kyle, Ted Karras, all left New England because it's familiarity. It's taking good guys who know your system and implementing them there to be, that leadership role when you're a new coach in a new team.
And you also have those coaches going to no state income tax states. I think that's important.
Bingo.
In Florida. All right.
Great point.
Having said all of that, you had arguably the best defense in Baltimore in some time. You had the MVP. You had home field advantage. You had the bye. You had all of that, and it still wasn't good enough. And so whatever the free agent situation is, it's going to be an uphill battle because the Kansas City Chiefs still exist. It's what it is. The AFC is loaded, right? I mean, the Jets are going to win it next year, apparently.
Burrow will be back.
Yeah, Burrow's going to be back. I mean, the division's going to be hard enough, right? Cleveland's going to, if they did that with Joe Flacco last year, imagine what Deshaun Watson in another year, if he can stay healthy. I mean, what Cleveland could be, what the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to look like with Mike Tomlin. That division is just unbelievably loaded. So, yeah, regardless of all that, and to your point, the defense is so loaded. I think Madubuike is a for sure guy they have to get back because you have a defensive tackle that can get to the quarterback like that. You have to have that guy, and you have the levels there. You know, you have Madubuike, you have Roquan, and then you have Kyle Hamilton. I think you have the levels there to get it done. It's just a matter of finding those extra pieces. And those extra pieces this year that they picked up on one-year deals were unreal. And it still wasn't enough to get past Andy Reid and the Kansas City Chiefs. So that's why, no matter what, outside of Arrowhead, everybody, when everybody's talking about an AFC team right now, it's an uphill battle for every AFC team, regardless of what your free agent scenario is.
And Kevin Zeitler, their guard, he's also a free agent. They need a running back because of the injuries that we've seen from J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards. They can't keep having Lamar be their lead rusher 5 straight years. That's the longest streak for a quarterback in the NFL. Like, they need to bring someone in, whether it's through the draft, whether it's through free agency. There's plenty of free agents that will be available.
Yeah, you keep hearing it.
Saquon, Josh Jacobs, Austin Eckler, Tony Pollard, but they need to bring someone in there.
And the Mitchell pickup in the in free agency last year, the rookie, you know, unfortunately, he got hurt in that Jacksonville. He's a different kind of shake-it-up guy in terms of speed. So when he gets back and gets healthy, if you can
pair him with someone,
pair him with somebody who has more of that kind of the thunder part of it, his lightning. I think that could be very impactful and take a lot of pressure off Lamar and carry him. But a lot of Lamar's carries, they weren't built runs. I mean, they were him manufacturing them with his legs, and that's just who he is and why he was so good this year in Todd Monken's office in year one.
Yeah, the question for next season will be the same question as last season. When are they going to prove it in the playoffs?
Right.
So, Peter, what do you think about the Ravens?
It's interesting because I think you're hitting on it. Last year, it was like Eric DeCosta could not miss. He was on fire. Got the Lamar Jackson thing done, and then they paid Odell Beckham a price that no one else was willing to pay. I mean, they blew Odell Beckham's number out of the water from what was expected. And then Odell went out there and exceeded expectations. And in adding Odell also helped convince Lamar that, okay, we're making the efforts here. Zay Flowers was an outstanding draft pick. But you name some names. You're talking about Jadeveon Clowney at 30 years old having a career year on a one-year deal. You're talking about guys like Dalvin Cook stepping up in a playoff game against the Texans and having a big run after being released by the Jets. It felt like every different hole that needed to be plugged in a moment's notice, DeCosta struck gold, and yet they still fell one step short of a Super Bowl. Now, I go back to what McCourty was saying, and J-Mac, you're so good on the defensive side of the ball. I can't overstate how good their defense was last year and what a big deal it is that Mike McDonald was hired by the Seattle Seahawks as their head coach. So in comes Zach Orr. Well, who's Zach Orr? Let's explain who Zach Orr is. Zach Orr was a player for the Ravens. His career was cut short with injuries, retired, then worked for the Ravens for several seasons as a defensive analyst, jumped to Jacksonville for a year, came back with the Ravens, and now he's their new DC. But former player, has been in the room, has been raised by that Ravens organization. You hope there's continuity. But gosh, when you're talking about that free agent exodus of players, and you're also talking you got to rebuild the defensive staff, that is an uphill battle. And if DeCosta hit, 850, if you're talking about baseball last year, I mean, you hope that he can do it again, but you're asking for lightning to strike twice in 2 straight off seasons. That's a difficult job for even one of the best front offices in football.